Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Eric Snow. Today, we're going to talk about, are you using sugar to manage stress? First, we have to talk about a neurotransmitter called serotonin. Many of you have heard of serotonin. It's been the target of many pharmacological drugs because serotonin is a very powerful mood enhancer and an uplifting neurochemical. When this chemical is low, people don't feel their best. They don't feel as happy. They're not as optimistic. The pharmaceutical industry has made a class of drugs called SSRIs, which are selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, to affect this. And what we're starting to see is there are many different ways in the diet that people are unknowingly using food to give them this mood elevation. And one of the biggest ones is sugar. Sugar has a profound effect on increasing serotonin. People, they come home stressed, or they're stressed in general, and they reach for food. Many of us have done this. It's called stress eating. And some people are overweight of this because they manage their stress with foods. And what we've learned about sugar, it's an indirect pathway, but when we eat the sugar, our insulin levels go up. And when insulin levels go up, it causes this higher utilization of amino acids, one of these being tryptophan. Tryptophan is the amino acid that serotonin is made from. Now, tryptophan can cross the blood-brain barrier, but serotonin can't. And so the serotonin is going to be made from the tryptophan when the insulin goes up, when the tryptophan crosses the blood-brain barrier. And then our brain, through some different biochemistry, actually makes the serotonin. So people get this high, and serotonin is a big part of this feel good and this high that people get when they eat the sugar. But what happens is this causes an addiction or a dependency. And it's like so many other things, the body builds a tolerance to it, even in the brain. So we have to use more sugar to get the feel good. But the problem is we create all the aftermath and issues, bad physiology in our body from over consuming sugars and refined carbohydrates, and the different things that have sugar are turning to sugar. They affect us in the body. And so we get the weight gain. We push ourselves further down that path into diabetes, insulin resistance, weight loss resistance, which causes a host of other problems, including hormone imbalance, premenstrual tension, adrenal issues, thyroid problems. And it just goes on and on as we see what happens to the body when we have these sugar handling problems. This last Christmas, my wife, she's a pharmacist, and she reads a lot of research, and she brought some research to me. And it was very interesting because in this research, they were doing double-blind studies to see how sugar and cocaine affected the brains of rats. And in the study, the rats were given sugar water and they were given cocaine water. And then when later they had the decision, they could choose which one they wanted. They actually picked the sugar water over the cocaine water. So we know that sugar acts very similar to these very addictive drugs and street drugs, lights up the same pathways. And one of those pathways is serotonin. So the question is, how can you boost your serotonin naturally and break this sugar addiction and the many problems that it causes in your body? And the first way is just to be conscious. Hey, this is something I'm doing. How much sugar am I eating? Am I using the sugar in foods to cope with stress? And just really work on cutting it back. It doesn't take a lot of willpower, but just being, acknowledging, hey, I am getting too much sugar, too much soda pop, too much desserts, too many refined carbohydrates, and this is causing a problem in my body. And then just set yourself a limit. If you're having too many soda pops, I've seen people drink as many as 6 soda pops a day. You can start cutting that back, one at a time, and shoot for 5. And then over 2 weeks, you're down to 2 sodas a day, which makes a big difference in the sugar consumption. And that's going to help keep your mood from being so up and down, or from you being so moody. Because what happens is, as we use excessive sugar to cope with the excessive stress, we just make it worse, and the mood imbalance gets worse and become more dependent on it. Very easy, powerful things to do is get sunlight. Get sunlight in the morning. We're starting to learn that sunlight boosts serotonin. Of course, we get the vitamin D throughout the day from sunlight exposure, but it does a great job at elevating serotonin and elevating dopamine, which is another feel good neurotransmitter. And the evening sun does this as well. And then exercise. Exercise is a great way to reduce stress. Um, Anything you can do, listening to relaxing music, taking a walk, exercise. Let's go after the stress first so we're not having to use things to cope for the stress. And then other things we can do is we can do my favorite, and I've been using this and designed a program for this. It's called a sugar detox. It's the best way, the fastest way to really handle this. I do not see sugar much different than any other drug out there, whether you're talking about um, painkillers, these opioids that have become so addictive that people have gotten dependent on, whether you're even talking about cocaine and other stimulants. Sugar is very addictive. It works almost the same as many other drugs. And so we have to treat it like a drug. And there's ways to enhance detoxification using special stages and phases of diet modification, and to replenish the different nutrients that become deficient when we use sugar over and over again. We bring those right micronutrients in, support the systems that have been damaged, and we see people come off of the sugar, and so many different problems get better. I see just so much of everything we are dealing with today. Whether you're talking about cancer, you're talking about hormone problems, ADD, ADHD, mood disorder, anxiety, weight gain, diabetes. A big part of that, besides the overconsumption of processed foods and sugar and carbohydrates and too much meat, is the nutritional deficiency disorder that we're in because our foods aren't supplying it, and our processed foods and drugs are stealing it from us. So when we put these nutrients back in, the body starts to turn back on, our hormones start to balance, we start to feel better. And a sugar detoxification is just key to setting so many people free, or setting them on the path to better health and a transformation in their health. And then we have other things that we can do too. Ketogenic diet is very powerful because you shift from using glucose and now you're using ketone bodies for fuel. And you get a very rapid resensitization of your insulin receptors. And we're not using sugar at all. We're using a high clean fat, moderate protein, low carbohydrate diet. And that is a great way to reverse and break many different addictions, is just to get all the sugar out for a period of time. And then we have different products, nutrients that we can take. One of my favorite that helps to give the brain a boost as far as neurotransmitters is a product from Standard Process called ProFood. It has a blend of heat liable amino acids, which means these are the amino acids that get destroyed when we cook our meat. So we don't get an abundance of them, but we need them to make different structures of the body and to make different things like neurotransmitters. And so this gives you a serotonin boost, a dopamine boost. And then we have a very specific amino acid called 5-HTP, and you can actually get tryptophan now as well. And that is converted into the serotonin. So we can take that for a short period of time to give ourselves an elevation and a boost in mood. And again, just getting exercise, getting sunlight, cutting back the carbohydrates is an excellent way to not only break the sugar addiction, stop using sugar to cope with stress, but handle the stress so we can feel better. Hey, I hope this video served you. I hope you enjoyed hearing some of the background. I know if you just listen and apply some of the things that I shared about today, it will definitely change your life, and you'll be one step closer to transforming your health. And if you like this video, please just click the link below, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can see more videos like this.